Apex asked as Zane nodded. Yeah, that's it, said Hudson. You humans are so complicated. It's a competition. There is bound to be a winner and a loser. So why are they jealous? It's their fault they were not strong enough to win, Apex explained. Like you said, humans are complicated. We tend to act out when things don't go our way, Zane explained, and Apex hummed in agreement. Like now? Yes, Zane replied. The air was still tense as Zane looked around at the upset opponents. They were clearly mad that Zane's team won. Their jealousy was obvious, making things awkward. Apex reminded Zane to stay alert. Keep your eyes open, Zane. They might try something. Zane nodded, knowing he had to be careful. Even though they won, he couldn't relax just yet. So, he stayed ready for whatever might happen next. Those guys look like they want to beat us to a pulp, Hudson said as he stared back at them, not backing down. They're just being sore losers. Ignore them, Teresa said with a devilish glint in her eyes as she stuck her tongue out at them. That's just immature, one of the students said, causing Teresa to laugh at their reaction to her teasing. Don't piss them off more than they already are, Teresa, Damien scolded as he rolled his eyes at her. Why shouldn't I? It's not my fault they lost because they're pathetic weaklings, Teresa said very loudly, which made everyone's angry gaze focus on her. She has done it now, Zane muttered to himself as he ran his hand through his hair in frustration. Why does she have to piss off everyone she meets? Zane thought to himself as a sigh left his lips. What did you just say? A guy from Group D said, his tone laced with anger as he walked towards Teresa. I said it's not my fault you guys lost because you're pathetic weaklings, Teresa repeated in an amused tone, causing the guy to take a threatening step towards her. Instinctively, Zane, Hudson, and Damien stepped in front of her, blocking her from the guy's reach and gaze. We have a problem? Hudson asked as he glared at him. Tell that bitch in your team to watch her mouth. Or she's going to regret it, the guy said as his angry gaze moved to the guys. Why? And is that a threat? Are you threatening us? Hudson inquired, his brow raised as he gave him a questioning look. I'm not threatening you all, just her, the boy said as he glared at Teresa. She is part of our team, so if you're threatening her, you're threatening us, Hudson said in a menacing tone. She has no right to say that to us, the boy said, his anger evident in his tone. Why? It's the truth. You lost, so stop being a wimp and accept your defeat, Hudson said as the boy's frown deepened. You little... the guy was about to say when Damien stepped in, a slight frown on his face. That's enough, Hudson, Damien said as he pushed Hudson backward gently and stepped in front of him. You're just making things worse. If you don't mind, I would like to handle this. Whatever. He is not worth my time anyway, Hudson muttered under his breath as he listened to Damien and went to stand beside Serena and Teresa. Look, they're sorry. We don't want any trouble, so just walk away. I've already apologized, Damien said, his tone devoid of emotions as he stared deeply at the boy. Stay out of my face, jackass, the boy yelled as he glared at Damien and shoved him backward, but he held his balance. Damien, Zane was about to say, but Damien turned to him with a small smile. It's okay. I got this. What a joke. Can't you take me on? Do you need your friend to fight your battles, wimp? The boy taunted him as Damien turned back to face him. No, I'm just trying to help you out. You see, that girl you were just being rude to, Damien said as he turned to point at Teresa. She doesn't give a damn about consequences. She has anger issues and will beat the living daylight out of you without batting an eyelash. Hey, Magic Boy, I don't have anger issues. About the other statement, you're right. I would totally enjoy beating the stupid out of him. I'm sure he will cry after I'm done, Teresa taunted, a huge grin on her face eliciting a glare from the boy as his smug expression was replaced with a frown. Teresa, you're not helping. Come over here, Serena said as she held her hands and pulled her back to her side. You guys are no fun. I can take this pathetic idiot. Just give me a few minutes alone with him, Teresa said with a devilish grin on her face as she stared at him dead in the eye. You can't take me on. You're just a weak girl. I would destroy you without even trying. Do you know who my parents are? The boy said, his irritation evident in his tone. Zane, having had enough of all this, stepped forward wanting to confront the guy when the message screen popped up with his task for the day saying, Defeat the pompous brat and you will receive a special reward. Really, Apex? Zane said as a groan left his lips. This is not my doing. Blame the system, not me. It picks the task, remember? Apex said as he scanned the boy they were meant to fight. He is not that strong. We can take him. I thought we were meant to be keeping a low profile, Zane said to Apex, his frustration evident in his tone. We don't have a choice. The system wants you to fight this boy, so we have to do it unless you want to take the penalty instead, Apex said. There is no way I would go through that willingly, Zane said, as a shiver ran through his body as his mind played the memories of the last time he received the penalty. So off you go, Apex said in an amused tone. It's not like we can just say we want to fight him. Something... Zane wasn't able to finish his statement as a loud thud echoed in the room, silencing everyone. Zane's gaze moved to Damien, who had a bloody nose. It was obvious the guy had just punched him. You jerk! Teresa yelled, moving to lunge for the guy, but Zane stopped her, his face devoid of emotions. Don't do anything. I will handle this, Zane said, his voice low and menacing as he walked towards Damien and the guy. That will teach you not to talk too much, the guy said, eliciting laughter from everyone. Are you okay? Zane asked as he placed a hand on Damien's shoulder, causing him to turn and face him. Yeah, it didn't hurt that much, Damien lied, avoiding Zane's gaze. You need a better poker face. I can tell you're lying. Please go wait with the rest. I will handle it, Zane said as Damien hesitated for a moment, prompting Zane to continue speaking. I'm still your leader, so you still technically have to listen to me. Hey, are you both ignoring me? The boy said, trying to punch Zane this time, but he stopped, holding onto the guy's clenched fist. It's rude to interrupt people when they're talking, Zane said as he twisted the boy's hand and pushed him away, causing him to fall to the ground. How were you able to stop that? Can you fight? Damien questioned, his shock evident in his tone. It's compulsory for everyone in my country to learn self-defense, Zane replied, hoping they believed his lie. So please, go and wait with the others. I will handle this. Okay, don't get hurt, Damien said, his concern evident in his tone. I won't get hurt, so don't worry. I just can't let him get away with hitting you, Zane said as Damien nodded and went to join the rest. Zane, are you sure? Serena asked as Zane turned to them with a smile on his face, noticing their concerned looks. Have some faith in me, guys. I can handle this jerk, Zane said, and they nodded. You can't do anything. I'm not scared of you guys, the boy said as he glared at Zane, trying to get to his feet. Eventually, he succeeded and faced Zane. Well, you should be, Zane said as he stepped forward, his annoyance evident in his tone. Who the heck are you? He asked, his disdain evident in his tone. Darren, the leader of this suggestion before I make you, Zane said, his irritation evident in his tone. You can't do anything, the guy said as he stepped closer to Zane, trying to intimidate him. But Zane just laughed. Want to bet? Step back while I'm still being nice. You're making a fool of yourself, Zane said. The guy hesitated, clearly not expecting Zane's confidence. You think you're tough, huh? I don't need to think. I know, Zane said, his voice steady. I know, before the situation could escalate further. A voice cut through the tension. Hey, what's going on here? They all turned to see the instructor, Professor Andrew, striding towards them with a stern expression. Nothing, sir, the boy answered quickly, stepping back. Just a little misunderstanding. Professor Andrew looked at each of them in turn, his gaze lingering on the guy who had confronted Teresa. Is that so? No, it's not just a misunderstanding. That guy punched my teammate in the face and gave him a bloody nose, so we want him to be punished. What makes you think you're in the position to ask for something like that? Professor Andrew asked, his brow raised. I think I have the right to ask because that idiot hit my teammate unprovoked, Zane said as he met Professor Andrew's gaze, his tone firm and devoid of emotions. Do you have evidence of this act? Professor Andrew asked. Apex, how can we get evidence? Zane asked Apex. In a prestigious place like this, there is no way there wouldn't be security cameras around. If we can't see them, they must be hidden, Apex replied. Let me do a scan of the room. It will only take a few seconds. Okay, Zane muttered as his gaze moved to the professor. What if I'm unable to get evidence? Will you just let it go? You won't bother to investigate my accusations. Of course, you can't ask me to punish a student without concrete evidence, Professor Andrew replied. I see, Zane muttered under his breath, waiting for Apex to be done. I'm waiting for your evidence, Professor Andrew said, and Zane turned to see the boy with a smug expression on his face. How stupid of him to think he was going to get away with it, Zane thought to himself. After a few minutes, Apex spoke again. There is a CCTV camera at the corner of the room. Zane's gaze went to the room, looking very closely, and he could see a faint red light coming from the lamp hanging on the wall a few feet beside them. My evidence is over there, Zane said as he pointed at the lamp. There is nothing there, Professor Andrew said. Really, Professor? We both know there is a CCTV camera under that lamp you can use to check what happened, Zane said as Professor Andrew gave him a questioning look. How did you know there was a camera there? Professor Andrew asked. I'm very observant, Zane said, hoping he would believe his lie. Professor Andrew said as he went quiet for a few seconds before focusing his attention back on Zane. How would you like him to be punished? Now you're talking. What are the punishments he can receive for striking a classmate? Zane asked, his gaze shifting to Professor Andrew, who was staring at him intently. We have punishments for situations like this, but you guys are not yet students of Oceanside, so the school can't punish him. Whatever happens to him will depend on the victim, Professor Andrew explained, as Zane turned to Damien. Are you really going to allow this nonsense? The boy said as Professor Andrew's gaze shifted to him. What is your name, boy? And didn't your parents teach you to respect your elders? Professor Andrew asked. They taught me. Respect goes both ways. And my name is Raymond Adam, the boy answered, his tone smug as he glared at Professor Andrew, and murmurs filled the room. Who are the Adams? Zane asked as he turned to his teammates, and they stared at him like he had grown two heads. Were you born under a rock or something? Hudson asked. I'm not from here, remember? Zane said as he rolled his eyes at Hudson. Oh, I forgot, Hudson muttered under his breath. They're one of the very influential martial arts families in Avalon, Serena answered, her concern evident in her tone. It is only Fred Adam that has decent abilities among them. The other family members just flaunt their money around, Teresa said, as they all turned to face her. How do you know that? Hudson asked, his curiosity evident in his tone. My father and Fred Adams are friends, Teresa said, like it was the most casual thing in the world. I see. Is your father Fred Adam? Professor Andrew asked Raymond, his tone and expression devoid of emotions as he stared at Raymond. No, he is my uncle. My father is Carlson. Adam, Raymond answered, and Professor Andrew gave him a knowing look. That's why you're causing a nuisance, Professor Andrew said, causing Raymond to glare at him. It's in your blood. What is that supposed to mean? Raymond asked, his anger evident in his tone. Your father was also a troublemaker when he was in school and is still a troublemaker now, when we all thought he would grow out of it. I guess we thought wrong, Professor Andrew replied as murmurs filled the room. Don't talk about my father like that, Raymond snapped as he turned to Zane's team. How do you know they aren't trying to frame me? I didn't hit that wimp. I see. So you won't have a problem with me checking the security cameras? For evidence of your innocence, Professor Andrew asked as Raymond's face paled. There is an actual camera there? Raymond asked, trying to hide his fear, but his voice betrayed him. Yes, there is. Do you think I was going along with this boy's farce because I have nothing better to do? Professor Andrew asked, his brow raised, his irritation evident in his tone and eyes. He is just making things worse for himself, Hudson muttered under his breath. Of course not, sir, Raymond stammered as he tried to think of a way to get himself out of the hole he had dug himself into. I only hit him because I was trying to stop Damien from bullying another student. Really? Where is this said student that Damien was bullying? Professor Andrew asked, and Zane couldn't read his expression. Did he believe Raymond? Or was he just playing dumb? Zane thought to himself as he watched the scene before him. That's a lie, Professor. I didn't bully anyone. I was just trying to stop him from threatening my teammate, Damien said as he stepped forward to defend himself. That's true, Professor, Teresa said, backing him up. I asked you a question, boy, Professor Andrew said, his annoyance evident in his tone. The student ran off. Raymond continued to lie, but Zane knew Professor Andrew already knew that he was lying from the disappointed look on his face. Everyone. Was Damien bullying a student? Is that why Raymond stepped in? Professor Andrew asked as his gaze ran over the students in the room. The room was silent. No one wanted to step up. Then Professor Andrew continued speaking. It's best you all tell me the truth, so this can be handled accordingly. Raymond was the one that hit Damien first. Damien was just trying to de-escalate the situation, one student said as he stepped forward, his gaze lowered, and that was all it took for the rest to start backing Damien up. They're all lying, you traitors, Raymond yelled as the frown on Professor Andrew's face deepened. Enough lies, Raymond. Since the whole room is lying, I'll just have the technical team check the video to confirm who is lying and telling the truth. Professor Andrew said as he picked up the phone to call the technical team, and Raymond's face went paler, if that was even possible, Zane thought to himself as he stared at him. Hello. I would like you to help me look through the videos for the last 1 hour of the security cameras at the entrance of the transportation center for a disagreement between the students and find out who started it, Professor Andrews said as he held his phone to his ear. Okay, thank you. He should have just told the truth, one student said in the background as Professor Andrew ended his call. Raymond Adam. Do you take me for a fool? Professor Andrew asked, his tone devoid of emotions. No, sir, Raymond replied. So why did you think you could get away with lying to me? Professor Andrew asked as Raymond fell to his feet. I'm sorry, sir. I was just scared of the consequences. It was a stupid decision and I regret it. Please, forgive me, Raymond begged. Begging will do you no good now. You have laid your bed. Now it's time for you to lay in it, Professor Andrew said, his tone disappointed as he stared at Raymond. Since I can't kick you out of the test, you will have to resort to another means. And what is that? Zane asked. Don't worry, boy. I won't let him off. You will get what you want, Professor Andrews said as he stared at Zane with an amused expression. What will you do to me? Raymond asked, his fear evident in his tone. Since you've chosen to resort to violence, we'll settle this the old-fashioned way. With a duel, Professor Andrews said. Murmurs filled the room. Raymond's eyes widened in disbelief. A duel? But that's absurd. I can't fight him. Why is it absurd? Your family has a long tradition of solving disputes with a duel, Raymond. Isn't that true? Professor Andrew declared firmly. Yes, sir, Raymond replied. So I see no issue here, Professor Andrew said as his gaze moved to Damien. Is this beneficial to you? Yes, sir. It's fair, but I'm a mage. Using magic will be considered cheating, Damien said, his gaze downcast. You want this to be a fair fight? Even after what he did to you, Professor Andrew said as he stared at Damien with an amused expression. Yes, Damien said as he looked up to stare at Professor Andrew in the eye. I don't want to stoop to his level. You and your teammates are quite fascinating, Professor Andrew said as his gaze moved over each of them. Since you don't want to fight him, maybe one of your teammates can help. Can we use weapons? Hudson and Serena asked. Since he wants it to be a fair fight and Raymond's type is a martial arts fighter, he can't. It has to be physical combat, Professor Andrews said as they both let out a frustrated sigh. Sorry, David, Hudson and Serena muttered under their breath. We would have loved to help. It's okay, guys. It's the thought that counts. Damien smiled as he turned back to Professor Andrew. Sir, Before Damien could finish speaking, Zane stepped up. I will fight in Damien's place, Zane said as Damien gave him a shocked look. Excuse us, sir, Damien said as he pulled Zane towards their group. What are you doing? Helping out, since no one knows how to fight martial arts, Zane said as he stared at their shocked expressions. You're a healer, not a fighter. I can't allow you to do this. If you get hurt, I will not be able to forgive myself, Damien said. Then, if you don't want to fight him, how do you want to make him pay for hitting you? Zane asked. I will just tell Professor Andrew I want to let it go, Damien replied. If you do that, then I won't be able to forgive myself, Zane said as he placed his hands on Damien's shoulder. I might have just met, but you're my friend, and I always look after my friends. But his uncle is a martial arts master. The basic martial arts you know might not be able to beat him, Serena said as she tried to reason with Zane. I know, but we can't know the outcome until I try, Zane said. Apart from the fact the system gave him the task, he still would have fought Raymond. People like him reminded him of his family, who think they can get away with anything because they are rich and powerful, Zane thought to himself, as his fist clenched by his side. But Darren, Damien was about to say when Teresa placed a hand on his shoulder, a small smile on her face. Damien, Zane is very stubborn, so you won't be able to change his mind. Let him do it. Who knows? He might just beat the bastard, Teresa said as a frustrated sigh left Damien's lips. Teresa is right. Just let him. It's not like we can do anything to stop him, Hudson said as he gave Damien a small smile. You're so stubborn. I don't know if I should call you stupid or brave, Serena said as a smile formed on her lips. Maybe on both, Zane said as he smiled. Okay, I will allow you, but don't get hurt, or I will turn you into a toad, Damien threatened with a smile. Aye, Captain, Zane said as he saluted his teammates. causing them to laugh out loud. Now that it's settled, let's give Professor Andrew our answer.